Hey everyone, welcome to Reality TV News Update, the place where we bring you the latest updates, fun moments, and behind-the-scenes stories you won't want to miss. The lights had long dimmed on the Big Brother 27 house, but its echoes, arguments, whispers, alliances, betrayals ran deeper than the cameras ever captured. For Vince Panaro and Morgan Pope, two of the season's most talked-about figures, the show was not simply a competition. It was an unraveling, a revealing, a storm that neither fully understood until they were standing in the wreckage of their marriage. But endings, as life often proves, are rarely the stopping point. Sometimes they are the pivot, an unexpected path to something new, or in Vince's case, someone new. The breaking point. In the months after BB27 aired, social media became a war zone. Fans dissected every eye roll, every flirtation, every strategic betrayal between Vince and Morgan. Clips resurfaced daily. Morgan confiding in another house guest about her doubts, Vince venting about feeling shut out, the two arguing in the pantry with microphones still on. When the season ended, the couple tried their best to resume normal life. They attended interviews together. They smiled on red carpets. They posted carefully curated photos, always insisting they were working through things. But behind the scenes, they spoke less and less. Nights stretched out with cold, aching silence. What once felt like two people building a life together now felt like two survivors of a shipwreck who couldn't agree on which direction to swim. One evening, as they sat in their living room staring at opposite corners of the wall, Vince spoke the words they had both been avoiding. "We've been trying to fix something that broke before we even knew it did," he said quietly. Morgan didn't argue. She just nodded. Tears slipped down her cheek, but the nod was steady, resigned. "We aren't partners anymore, are we?" The divorce was not explosive. No slammed doors, no lawyers firing accusations across conference tables. It was a slow, bittersweet process. Papers were signed, keys were returned, boxes were packed. The world watched, of course. Headlines exploded. BB27 couple calls it quits. Inside Vince and Morgan's quiet divorce. Did the show doom their marriage? But for the first time in months, the noise didn't matter. They finally gave each other space to breathe. Life after breaking apart. Vince moved into a quiet townhouse outside of Los Angeles, far from the chaos of their old life. Morgan returned to Texas to be near her family. They both stopped trying to perform happiness online. Vince quit posting entirely. Morgan deleted thousands of comments, some supportive, many vicious. In their separate worlds, they started healing. Vince threw himself into training and hiking. For months, he avoided any show invitations, any press, any spotlight. He wasn't ready. He wasn't even sure he wanted to be the BB27 guy ever again. Morgan, meanwhile, embraced stillness. She worked on rebuilding friendships she had neglected during the whirlwind of reality TV. She learned to cook again. She read books without worrying what the public would think. Occasionally, one would text the other something simple. "Hope you're good. Congrats on the new project. Take care." Cordial, caring even, but distant. Slowly, they found acceptance. But life, as it often proves, had another twist waiting, one Vince never saw coming. A chance encounter that changed everything. It happened 6 months after the divorce. Vince attended a charity event only because his agent begged him to make an appearance. He wore a simple black suit, kept to himself, and avoided journalists like they were landmines. He didn't expect to meet her. Her name was Alyssa Hart, an event coordinator who had nothing to do with television fame or the chaotic life he had lived. She didn't get dazzled by his name. She didn't even know who he was until someone whispered it to her halfway through the night. She approached him only because he looked uncomfortable standing alone by the dessert table. "You look like you'd rather be anywhere else," she teased with a soft smile. He laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. "You have no idea." A simple conversation turned into an hour. An hour turned into exchanging numbers. A week later, they met for coffee. 2 weeks later, dinner. A month later, he realized he was smiling more than he wasn't. Alyssa was calm where his life had been chaotic, warm where his past had been cold. She didn't ask for autographs, explanations, or apologies for things fans still argued about online. She saw him, not the storyline. He didn't plan on falling in love so soon. He definitely didn't plan on rebuilding his life this quickly. But love is notorious for ignoring plans. Morgan's new beginning.
When Vince learned about his new relationship, he surprised himself by not feeling jealousy or regret. He felt relief. True, peaceful relief. He had started seeing someone too, though he kept it private. His life now was about sincerity, not spectacle. He wanted relationships that healed, not ones that entertained the internet. When Vince called her months later, something they rarely did, she answered without hesitation. "How are you?" he asked gently. "I'm good," and she meant it. They talked for 17 minutes. Not about the show, not about the divorce, just about life, growth, peace. It was the closure they needed, the soft landing after a long fall. The proposal that shocked fans. By the time Vince had been dating Alyssa for a year, he knew. She was the person who brought him back to himself. She grounded him. She didn't demand perfection. She embraced his flaws, the scars of the show and his marriage had left behind. On a quiet evening in Malibu, with a private table overlooking the ocean, he knelt and asked her to be his wife. Alyssa's eyes filled with tears instantly. "Yes," she whispered, before he could even finish the question. The engagement remained private for a while. Vince had learned the hard way that the world did not deserve access to everything. But when the news finally broke, it spread like wildfire. Vince Panaro engaged again? BB27 alum moves on after divorce. Who is Alyssa Hart? Meet Vince's new love. Social media ignited. Fans debated. Some celebrated. Some criticized. Some dragged Morgan into it, something she shut down with grace. "I wish him happiness," she posted simply. "We've both moved on." And for the first time, fans accepted it. The wedding day. The ceremony was small, only 45 guests, most of them family and close friends. No production crews, no TV deals, no stage lights or dramatic confessionals. Alyssa walked down the aisle in a simple lace gown, barefoot on the sand. Vince stood waiting, wearing a suit much softer than the ones he used during his reality TV days. When she reached him, he whispered, "You saved me." She laughed softly. "No, you saved yourself. I'm just the lucky one who gets to walk beside you now." They exchanged vows handwritten on thick cream paper. Vince's voice shook as he said, "I learned the hard way that love isn't supposed to be war. It's supposed to be refuge." When the officiant said, "You may kiss your bride," the guests cheered as the sun dipped below the horizon. There were no paparazzi, no screaming fans, no trending hashtags. Just peace, just love, just two people choosing each other. Morgan's unexpected moment of closure. A week after the wedding, Vince received a message from Morgan. "Congratulations, truly. I'm glad you found your match." He stared at the screen for a long time before typing back, "Thank you, and I hope you found yours too." She had. And even if she hadn't yet, she was happier than she had been in years. Their story ended, yes, but not in bitterness, not in drama, in acceptance, in growth. Sometimes the bravest thing two people can do is let go. A new life, a new chapter. Vince and Alyssa built a quiet life away from the spotlight. He still did occasional TV appearances, but only the ones he genuinely enjoyed. She continued her work in events, occasionally taking on charity projects that Vince happily supported. Their home was filled with warmth, candles on every table, plants in every corner, laughter echoing through the rooms. Nothing about it felt like the house he once shared with Morgan, filled with pressure and expectations. This one felt lived in, loved in. And Morgan, well, she began appearing more in public again, confident and grounded. She didn't need the chaos anymore. She didn't chase storylines. She chased joy. And the ending that was really a beginning. The breakup had been painful. The divorce had been exhausting. But the journey that followed, for both of them, was necessary. Vince didn't remarry because he wanted to erase the past. He remarried because he finally understood who he was without the cameras, without the pressure, without the noise. Morgan didn't disappear because she lost something. She stepped away because she gained clarity. Their love story ended, yes, but their lives didn't. Their happiness didn't. Their hope didn't. And in the end, that was what mattered most.